Bowlin here with the Undertaker about alive and well on a Monday. Made it out of the weekend. We seem to be here. People doing their thing, trying to hang out as best they can. I'm live streaming for live stream's sake. Rolling along here. Looks like, let's see, we're looking at, we started at 11:05. That's when we started. And we're trying to make this thing happen as best as possible. This Wednesday, I'm going to keep repeating this as people come on, as people don't come on. I'm going to set up a new chat situation so that we can still have the engaging things that we used to do and kind of go back and forth. We'll see. We'll see how it works and how you guys feel about it and, you know, what your deal is, what the dealie is. We made it to this Monday. Okay, I was screaming. Like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting up a new chat situation, I'm going to try different configurations so that we all can kind of get used to what's going on. I know there was a certain kind of camaraderie that was set up with the old chat situation we were doing with on Facebook. I want to try to keep that together, so there are different ways to do it. And so the next one I'm going to keep. Also, I'm going to be shortening the shows. There's no need for when I have a guest on, maybe, but the chances are I'm trying to get it down to a reasonable time. I know people watch it, usually they watch it later on, but it's getting a little long in the tooth, if you know, if you know what I'm saying. What's happening? Raven Choi is here as we her new persona, one of her other personalities. We know her as Kaquita. Kaquita's here. She's joined us. There's a couple things I'm going to show. I'm going to show some Comic-Con throwback. So October, believe it or not, would be when LA Comic-Con would go on. When it first started out as Kamikaze, LA Kamikaze, and that was when Stan Lee was actually hosting it. I don't think it was. I doubt that it was his money, but he would be the host, and he'd be the master of ceremony, the big guy. He'd be there on the big days, the opening and the closing, and got to take a picture with him. Snuck one. Snuck a couple pictures I might show this evening. I just showed one earlier with me and Daryl Mack from Run DMC. That was the first time 2016 was the first time that I interviewed him. There's one really nerdy one that I'm almost, it's one of those moments where, the nerddom happens because you happen to, this is how you know when someone's a real OG nerd and there's no like performance situation going on where someone's trying to act all nerdy because it's hip to be nerdy now because a lot of nerds got money. Nah, there's something that spit out, and I will admit to it when I show it. But first, let me show you this. Throughout the night, I'll be showing you a couple of them. This is one that I really enjoyed. This is one of my favorite moments, actually. There's a couple of them, but I have to set it up correctly. Every time I went, I would seek out the black cosplayers. I would seek out the brothers and sisters who were the cosplayers because I think it was important to, introduce them to the world. And it wasn't a thing like I was ignoring, great cosplaying. Now, great cosplaying to me isn't the people who buy all the, the right shit and show up with all the right shit. There's only a couple places a couple people where you'll find that. First of all, the cosplaying professionals, the ones who are hired by the students or the marketing firm for a certain show, or you'll find people like that are very hardcore in their groups. Mandalorians, right? The Mandalorians. They were before the show came out. I can tell you down in San Diego. Was it San Diego, or was it Long Beach? I think it was San Diego. It was Long Beach. Down in Long Beach Comic-Con, I ran into them, and I'm gonna show some footage not tonight from them. I'm gonna keep bleeding this out. Like I said, because LA Comic-Con was usually done in October. It was by Halloween, the month of Halloween. And they were very, they have to get certain things right and other things they have to make themselves. As you've seen, I'm for the person who gets their own shit. I dig that. I dig the tinkering aspect. If anybody who knows me knows that, that's what I do. I built the computer I'm on. And, a lot of different stuff, a lot of rigs that I've used over the years. I've actually built to hold cameras. Like I built my own cage and all this other stuff to hold cameras and stuff. And just to kind of, make it through the day when you're working with certain equipment and stuff, and also with cars and damn near anything that I've owned, I've actually taken apart. Including, for instance, if you see this is a power adapter, I've taken several of these apart. You can actually take them apart. I wouldn't suggest it, all if you don't know what you're doing, but if you need to fix one sometimes, some of these are real bad and the solder breaks. This is real sturdy, the end. You see that the end is real sturdy, but then the solder breaks run just on the inside, and then it shorts out. It doesn't short out, it just doesn't work. And so instead of buying a new one on Amazon, so anyway, there are things that I do, and I really dig people who are very inventive in how they do it, even if what they do ends up looking professional, like this is the kind of shit they do. It's still dope to see somebody apply their craft and their art. So I won't go past those people, but it is important, as far as I'm concerned, that if young brothers and sisters, and it's mostly young brothers and sisters, go to cosplay and they are engaged in whatever universe it is they're engaged in, whether it be, like a Marvel films or anime or whatever it is that they do. It's important for me with a camera and a voice and some questions to give them the platform, and not in, it's more people now than ever. Okay, more brothers and sisters. Well, we've been shut down for 2 years, but it's been more people now, more brothers and sisters that are in cosplaying that I see out there than ever before. But still, when I was first doing it, hit this a bitch. What the hell is that noise? And good old Google has started up when I was talking. But anyway, even though it's more than ever before, you still have to, you got to find them. You got to talk to them, and you never know. So this is one of my favorite moments. That's what I'm saying. I saw this group, and I had to talk to them, and it's not, it's not long or anything, but it's just, you'll see, it's just so dope. Dig this.
And boom, here we go.
So what up, what it do?
Anime!
Yeah! Anime, all right, give me the anime. You'll throw it up, whatever you got. Where you from? Where you from?
I'm from Los Angeles, Detroit, Brooklyn, everywhere.
You're Frankenstein, he's from everywhere. Is everybody here from LA?
Yeah.
Is this your
No,
first?
I'm from the Kanto region.
Okay. Is this your first time here?
No.
It's my second time.
Second time. Is it getting bigger or better?
It got bigger and it got better, but I still ain't bought nothing.
Why not?
You didn't have money.
Oh, no money?
Anyways, I've
I
been here
was
for
broken
7
than
times.
MC Hamilton
7
career.
7.
So who are you? Who are you?
Lauren, Nicole, Watson.
No, what's your vibe?
I don't know.
We're the school
I'm myself.
Oh, you're the schoolgirl.
I'm
Oh,
myself.
That one pimp.
oh.
They're raping big
Oh, don't say that. Don't say, black man, don't say that on this street either. All right, well, good luck to you guys. Have a good time.
All right, anime is my crack.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Young and Wild, doing their thing. It's kind of cool, man. I want to let me go up and show you just right quick. We can go back and forth on this. There was some inappropriate things said. So now, see, when you're younger, now if anybody knows me, I always say, you give them one or two. When you're younger, you say some shit, and just like I said, don't say that. Black men, especially, don't say it. Lay that out there. But I want to just impress upon you who these cats. So these are anime characters, schoolgirls from anime. This is like Sailor Moon, but there's always like this sailor outfit thing that is a trend in anime. Anybody who's ever watched anime kind of knows a schoolgirl. It's not Catholic, but it is this. They have this like little bib, and then the big. Handkerchief here. She has one as well. Sometimes they do the tie, And this is how I knew about Squid Games and that kind of vibe, because that has existed in anime for quite some time. But this is just a beautiful picture, man. This is I really would like to know what happened to these people and what they went on and did, these young brothers and sisters, and what they went on to do their things. And it's just, look at the exuberance, and this is what I'm talking about. And when see, I tell people, I was nerdy, You know, I did a lot of nerdy shit in high school, and some people say, "No, you weren't nerdy." I was. I was a nerd. I wasn't that book smart. I have to tell you. I had a great teacher my junior and senior year who enlightened me to the idea of understanding what you're doing to know where you're going. Everything that you do to understand that situation is a map that helps you get to the next level, whatever that is. Little bitty French Canadian. Yeah. So she taught me those lessons. So I wasn't really that bookish, but I was bookish, but I wasn't into what they were teaching. Right? Kind of nerdy. Captain of football team, ASB president, all that. Right? Nerd. To see these young brothers and sisters like kicking it and enjoying, you know, like the brightness. Now you have to understand, like I said, these are they're doing the two anime girls. These brothers are like dressed up as themselves. They got their passes together. This brother, who do you think he is? I'm just gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that for true. Who? Yeah, you wrote it down. Right. He's the drummer for the Roots. That's exactly what he is. That's exactly how he's going, and that's his hair. He had the glasses down. He put the glasses down. I mean, but you know, it's not full on, but it's dope. They're having a great time. This ain't no, you know, it was just dope. And I have another I'm going to show Wednesday that is remarkable. That was about these viral cats, this young brother who had created this whole viral system of them dancing and stuff. And I went and showed some, man, this dude, I've shown it before, but I think it's important to celebrate young brothers and sisters that are doing things like this because they don't get nearly enough celebration. They kind of do now because there's a couple different things that they can do. There's Wakanda, you know, so everybody's a Black Panther. In that, I think I have the other one that I want to show you. I may or may not have it. Let me see if I have the shot. Nah. There's a Wakanda shot that I have that is probably, to me, one of the best shots I've ever taken. So it's one of the dopest and one of the best shots. Oh, man. Hold on here. I messed up. Screwed up. I screwed up. Where we at? Okay. Yeah, I'll find it. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was dope. And, you know, like I said, I'll be showing a couple throughout tonight so we can take a look at them. Let's start with some things first up, though. How you doing? I got Raven here. I got Choi. Choi. I got True. Choi. I got True 129. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. They're left, our right. Exactly. You're absolutely right about that. Yes. I'm gonna drop this out here. Boom. And I saw something today that was kind of quizzical, and it actually leads to this whole thing about celebrity. Our engagement is kind of a trip. I think some people have been rattled. Some people have just, you know, sucked their teeth. Some of them have just said, well, and moved on in regards to R. Kelly. And then I don't know if this is true, there was a statement somewhere that he was going to start talking about all the other people that were involved in his little circle of doing these things to these girls. And I had read this, I want to show you this piece. Let me see if I can find it for you. Because I wanted to bring this up, and I'm not trying to dog people out. Because I don't think it's important to dog people out. But Janice Gay wrote a book. And this is when I found it, I wanted to bring it to your attention. Janice Gay wrote a book, and she talked about some things in regards to Marvin Gaye. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is we need to be real about what R. Kelly did. But also we need to take one step back. Don't get me wrong. Trust me, I ain't the guy to be wagging my finger at anybody in regards to what they're doing in life. But we have to understand, you know, when people just say, well, you love them for the art and you know, I guess people have to make choices in that regard, but we also shouldn't run away from what the truth is. So this is what got me thinking. I saw this, I don't know if you guys saw this, I guess it might be viral now, but this has been out for quite some time. Michael Jackson is giving this speech. He's at I have one where he's giving a speech. I have one on my Darkroom YouTube page where he's giving a speech at an award ceremony. at some award ceremony. It looked like it's some little small theater in England. You know, he just showed up. You know, they they were giving the Michael Jackson award to somebody who could do the best Michael Jackson impersonation, and then here he comes. I mean, it just looks that way, and because it's not janky, but it's small, you know, and they're just chilling, and they're, you know, what's up? Oh, Liv, good to see you. Nice to see that you're still with us. So yeah, man. So he's in there and he's talking. You know, he's doing his thing, and he's dropping like bombs, like he's laying stuff out. Like, you know, they think we're stupid, but we're not. You know, the dancers, they think that just because, you know, we dance and we sing. And he started going into this shit about how he bought the whole catalog, the Beatles catalog, the Beatles. You know, I bought that catalog, and he goes into the shit. You can go watch it. But I saw this other one. And this is how a cult of personality works, right? So, we're looking at Michael Jackson after Bad. They don't care about us, Michael Jackson. There's a couple things you need to understand about Michael Jackson if you didn't know this. Michael Jackson, before he died, was obviously he was still, I would say, in the top 3 stars in the world. Probably almost anywhere he could go, you know, he'd be recognized. Times had changed a little bit. It shifted. You know, his stuff wasn't top anymore, but he had made so much money. He had done so much that, you know, he didn't have to for the rest of his life. When he was younger, he got some of the most lucrative deals in the history of entertainment at that time. Entertainment is kind of a theme this evening, and you need to understand that entertainment is entertainment. The business of entertainment is the business of entertainment, and I'm going to get to that in a very strong point after I get. That's the whole reason I'm bringing this up: the cult of personality, celebrity. So Michael Jackson got this deal with Pepsi, and he did joined the Pepsi generation, right? Alfonso Ribeiro was doing the tap dance kid on Broadway. I think he did moves like Michael Jackson. They grabbed Alfonso, anyway, Ribeiro, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? Carlton. So he had been doing this Broadway show, and he danced like Michael. He did this really dope thing like Michael Jackson, to the point where he did a Pepsi commercial with Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, by the way. They wheedled themselves into that shit because by the time Michael had made it, he did one more tour with his brothers, man, the Victory Tour. And that was it. You know, I think he was like, okay, you know what? I'm tired of all of you, okay? Every time I get you guys money, you go out and you buy all these, like, Tito, you don't need a double-decker Lamborghini. Where are you going to drive it, Tito? Jermaine? You know, I don't know. You don't need that many shoes. And trying to bring them all of them. So he did this last tour with his brother Victory Tour, right? And they ended up in this Pepsi commercial. Okay, so it's important that you know the personnel and all this stuff. So he had this huge contract to do this whole campaign, join the Pepsi generation. So he does this second, the first commercial was a huge hit. I mean, it blows everybody up in it. Alphonse gets his name. I mean, he's already this kid, you know, who's this phenom. But him and Michael, that's just, the electric is just off the chain. So his career launches from that. So Michael's doing another commercial for Pepsi. And he's running down the stairs. They have, he's being, you know, it's kind of like he's being pushed as this great, you know, you can see the crowd like around the world. They go to all these cuts and stuff, and they show him, and then he's coming down the stairs. And it's a little, you know, it's about 5 stairs or maybe more. And he's and he going on the stairs, and they got all this, you know, shit because Michael Jackson's coming. He's about to hit the stage and blah blah blah. Now, actually, remember I told you that story. I actually saw Michael Jackson from the stage about not even, 25 feet away. And, it's a decent, the guy was doing his thing. You know, same thing here. He was doing his thing, coming downstairs. So they were showing us all these cuts. So he comes out on the stage and it's like, bam, Michael. I don't know what they were going to do after that. No one knows. Because as he was walking down the stairs, some pyrotechnics went off and they caught his hair on fire. Not necessarily his hair. They caught, I don't know what it was. True, you might know this. Was it Stay Soft Fro? Could have been TCB, Good Fred Oil. Whatever the my thing seems to have, my connection seems to be tripping. I hope you guys can still see me. Let me see if I can watch in here. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. So see what's going on. So, dig it. So the Stay Soft Fro or the Soul Glow or whatever he had caught fire in his hair. Now, if your hair catches fire, that's usually not a big problem. You just cut the hair off if your hair catches fire. If your hair, right? The hair catch fire, man. If you can put it out, you know, cut it off, you'll be bald for a couple weeks. But problem with Michael is that there were third-degree burns on his scalp. So I'm saying all this to say that Mike's hair, he had been wearing a piece, from what I understand, and I'm pretty sure he had plugs. And I don't think Mike was going bald because nobody else in the family went bald. Maybe Tito, maybe. But my point is that there is a reason why his hair was the way it was, why it was stringy, why it looked the way it did. Because for those of you who didn't know, Mike got his hair caught on fire back in the day. So I'm watching this video. I'm watching this thing. It's on somebody. I think somebody. I don't know. It might have been Kaquita. Maybe she sent this to me. And Mike is talking, and he says, I'm not gonna say verbatim. I'm just saying it. He says, you know, I outsold Elvis, and I outsold the Beatles, and as soon as I outsold the Beatles, as soon as my albums outsold the Beatles, all of a sudden I was a freak. And people are like, what? Yeah, go ahead, Mike. And in the comments, they're like, tell it, Mike. They say they said I bleached my skin, and they said I had plastic surgery, and they said I did all these things, and they said I was a freak, you know. And I'm looking at him. I'm looking at Mike. This is post bad. I'm looking at him and I'm like, well, your skin is bleached and your nose has been chopped down to its remnants. You could just turn the page in turn it back like 4 pages in the Michael Jackson story, and you will see off the wall. The off the wall nose is not Now, I don't know particularly why he did it. Now, you've heard my theory about Michael Jackson cutting his nose down. I think that was part of actually a strategy to try to keep him in a higher register singing as he got older. But, who can tell? You can't fuck with your vocal cords because we know that can go to hell. So, but he's sitting there in front of these people and he is saying this shit, and they can see that he has lightened his skin. I don't know if he actually bleached it, but he's lightened his skin. He did get tattoos for eyeliner. And I believe he got tattoos for his lips as well. And I think there's a practical sense of that because of the skin condition that he had, he didn't have to keep putting that shit on and off. Now, I don't know. But what he was telling them was that it's like, I'm not a freak. And he never said I didn't do any of this shit. He said they calling me a freak for doing this shit. And people are like, yeah, you tell the truth, Mike. Blah, blah, blah. And Mike is setting them up as villains, talking shit. I'm like, no, anybody who said that about you was absolutely correct. Now, it doesn't mean that, you weren't shit. I'm not saying that. But if someone says, yeah, he bleached his skin and chopped his nose up, they're not lying. Tell the truth about that shit. And she said, Truth says, whatever was the highest grade of activator for the hair. They used to have activation, have your hair. When you had your hair, because your hair would be permed, you see. That's the thing. They were using the old perm, not a conch, not necessarily a hot comb, but a perm. And then you put whatever juice you had, and it literally would curl your hair back kind of stringily, so you look like you look like a wet shaggy dog, and that was called activator. It activated your hair in the curl. So my point is that people are sitting there like, yeah, that's the real shit. Now he might be dropping knowledge. I'm not going against that. Mike, like I said, I have a video of him saying the same kind of shit. He said he called the dude that married Mariah Carey the devil. He's the devil. He's I fell out when I first heard that. I must have played that shit back about 20 times. And Tony, what's that guy's name, man? You guys have figured out. He's the devil. Oh shit, I was on the floor. But and so it's not like he wasn't dropping knowledge. It's just the cult of celebrity. People around there like and he's standing right in front of them, looking the way he looked. And I'm not saying it's bad, good or bad. That's up to, his fans to decide whether or not they want to deal with that. But he did lighten his skin. He did have surgery on his nose. I don't know why, but to sit up there and say, well, they called me a freak because, they said I had surgery on. Yeah, you did. Shit. I'm not saying Andy. I'm not saying it ain't shit either, because somebody else was playing this thing about Nicki Minaj, and just listening to some of her lyrics, and then she's there now, and she's wearing a bathing suit. I'm watching this, and she's wearing a bathing suit, and I'm looking at her like, okay, you strutting, but isn't like by now like you're 43% silicone? Like, can we call you? Are you still, a human being? Are you not yet an artificial life form? Are you how close? And I'm not talking shit, believe me. I mean, I got gray hairs and a little bit of belly and trying to, do the best I can. So I understand that. There's a hell of a lot of pressure on people to stay. But I think that sometimes it brings us and it makes us blind. And so I'm gonna show you this. This came out on the Post. This is the 12th. Well, that's not the 12th. This dropped, God damn it. This dropped on May 3rd, 2015. And this is Janice. This is Janice Gay. Marvin Gaye's wife reveals how he tortured her. Janice Hunter was a mother of two early in her 20s when her longtime lover, father of her children, and one of the world's most lusted after soul singers, Marvin Gaye, suggested an amorous liaison with another couple. The four had been smoking weed and snorting cocaine when Gaye noticed the pair sizing her up. And he says, I think they want to take this party to the next phase. He said, a small intimate orgy is just what the doctor ordered. He didn't participate, but acted as ringleader, urging the sexual proceedings between his hesitant, eager to please girlfriend, 17 years his junior, and the couple they had just met. After Gaye projected his joy at the event onto Hunter, he projected something else as well. You loved it, didn't you? He asked. Not especially. Oh dear, please don't deny it. You were an animal in heat. You couldn't get enough. This was your dream come true. Not my dream, Marvin. Yours. The next night, when the other couple returned for more, Gaye's enthusiasm had become something else. He told Hunter, you go off with them if you want. I can't stop you. I won't try. She refused. The couple left. Gaye told her how he really felt about the fantasy that his prodding had made real. To watch purity turn to perversity is a fascinating thing, he told her. You were once my angel, but now you have fallen. And yes, I do admit it is exciting to watch you fall. And that's kind of shitty, right? And the reason why it's shitty is because it's about control. And at least the discussion here isn't, it's going to sound fucked up, and I don't mean this in a fucked up way. Janice's life is hugely important. She was way underage. I mean, in her life experience, she also might have been too young. Like I said, he started picking her up from school when they started a relationship. The thing is, the conversation here is about the spiral into drugs and continuation. Marvin Gaye never came out of that. Now, he may have had some slowdowns and some stops during it, but he never came out. And that's what led to this other situation, which is a power dynamic, him controlling this. To do that shit and to have someone in your life like that who would be willing to do that for you. And we can let's dispel with the bullshit There are people who are willing to do this kind of thing for celebrity all the time. I think she really dug him, and I think he used whatever power he had because he could, and probably did it often. And when it didn't work anymore, and the drugs got the bottom, and all of the bullshit that went on, at the end of the day, Marvin was a spent man. Okay? You get to read these kind of things, and you see what people are talking about. You see the level of celebrity, you know, where we go with this shit. And that's where I think sometimes with this R. Kelly shit, if he starts talking about other people, you're going to see other people coming out of the woodwork. And we know this shit has happened. I brought up that whole thing that happened with Africa Bambaataa. At least 3 men have accused him of molesting them when they were young men in their teens. Now, you know, people do lie. It is rare for young black men, or excuse me, black men to lie, to talk about that, in period. I'm not going to say I don't know about the lying part, but to talk about that, it's rare. It's rarer still to talk about it publicly and put themselves out there. So I'm not saying that people don't need to talk to him about the dynamic. I'm just saying that the power dynamic can lead people to do other things, and it matters where it comes from, whether somebody's a teenager, whether somebody's a young, you know, all the shit. We went through this thing before about all these people singing these young girl songs and all this shit. Now, mind you, most of the young girl songs and young lover songs actually are sung to be sold to young girls and young boys. You dig what I'm saying? Like, you know, everybody's talking about Prince. When Prince was dropping, when he first dropped, I was in junior high. Not even that, I don't think. You know, by the time, 1999 dropped, man, we was in high school. That shit, you know, that was the bomb. You know what I mean? Prince never really, well, I don't know if you want to hear Sister or Jack You Off, which is, oh, God. They actually put that on the album, Dirty Mind, Jack You Off. No, no, I think, no, it's on a Controversy. It's on Controversy. That's right. True said, as long as Madonna is out of the streets putting it out there, Nicki's just fine, right? Did everybody hit in the like coming in? Please like it. I forgot about that. This is we're in our new digs, and I ain't bringing it up, but please hit the like button and subscribe. This is where we're going to be for a short. I'm trying to get the other page set up for this one, but right now, this is where we are. This is where it's at. This is what's happening. So this is where we're locked in, and I'm going to do a different type of, like I said, I'm going to be putting a different type of chat so we can make this thing happen. So anyway, that's what I was thinking about with the R. Kelly stuff. I mean, he's done. You know, he might get a reprieve at some point, another 10 years or 5 or 10 years or whatever. But if he starts talking, maybe other people, you know, I don't know. I don't know how far this thing can go, because it could open wide up. I mean, we have seen, you know, there are only a couple of people that service these powerful people. Remember, now here's the thing. The DC madam and what's the other guy's name? The guy that just died. Both of them, I believe, were murdered. The DC madam died, and homeboy, I was gonna say Frankenstein. That's the best word for him. So there's only a couple people that service the super rich that can, where they feel comfortable with. And there's only a couple that are going to take that risk. Can you dig it? And COVID Daily Update, here we go. We had, you can dig this, we had Los Angeles County, October 11th. This was today. Yesterday was actually, let's see. Yesterday, there were 5 deaths, 1,056 new cases, 670,000 current hospitalizations. Today, everything's down across the board except there's new deaths. Now, remember, I said before, it always comes out low on Monday, and then we start losing 30 a day again. I don't know what that is. Somebody maybe said it was the paperwork. Maybe that shit was backing up. I have no idea. But this is where we are right now for it. So, And I hope that it works out. Let's get to some other things here. We need to get this right here. Texas, Tejas, and this is from Kyle Griffin. I brought him up before. Texas governor bars all vaccine mandates in state. Abbott has taken away all the vaccine mandates. Now, just to let you know, for those people, I think Clyde can talk about this. If you have children, from the time they're born until the time they go to school, I think they have like 17 vaccinations, somewhere around there. But there's some big ones, the MMR, MERS, which is measles, mumps, and rubella, I believe. There's smallpox, there's polio. And that, these things are, the only way to really make sure that you focus and that the kids are focused in that direction is that they get them before they can go to school, public school. That's how the state has worked its way to say, look, we need to stop this. Now, if you're like me, you ain't seen no case of rubella or the mumps lately. Certainly haven't seen smallpox, and have not seen, ain't seen the chicken pox, to be honest with you, because they came up, and it's, way beyond our time, but they came up with the chicken pox vaccine in the 90s. So what you basically going to be turning Texas in, Tejas in, is Tejas going to be a Thunderdome. It's going to be the apocalypse. It's going to be Escape from Texas. What we should do right now is just get some planes together, like the plane of them brothers in Compton, them black pilots, maybe get an Air Force, a black Air Force, to do a refugee lift of all black folks out of Texas. Take them to Fresno. Have a good population of all the black people from Texas go to Fresno. Or somewhere else where when they're raising their kids, we saw what happened, man. It was this 3 years ago when the anti-vaxxers took their kids to goddamn Disneyland and started literally a fucking plague outbreak. There was a measles outbreak. And see, the thing is that the way viruses work, unless you can find patient zero like they were able to, but unless you find patient zero, somebody can show and just fuck everybody up and never say a word. Or you might be, 55th in line to sue their asses. Like, they're not going to just do overkill because they get everybody sick, man. So why not just take care of the sickness? Because we're talking about a party that's really, really based on, it's in the league of fascism and stupidity. And so those two things, I got into an argument today with somebody about what fascism is. Some person who called themselves a history teacher. And they didn't even know that fascism started. It started with the Catholic Church, with an order of the Catholic Church that backed up Mussolini. But it's an ancient concept, the fascia, which is a bunch of bundle of twigs around an axe and its handle to make the axe stronger. It's a Roman concept. They used to carry it on their shields. Of the many, one, or of the many makes one powerful. That's this when they talk about the Republic and we're all together and blah, that's what they had, right? So it's not a new concept to have this idea of many, but in the 20th century, it was turned into a way to have authoritarianism as the base of your government, whatever the fuck it is. And so people are in lockstep. They do whatever, no matter what, blah, blah, blah. Now, the funny thing is that most of the right wing and the Trumpers are trying to say that's who we are. That's what you guys want everybody. You're trying to get everybody vaccinated. You're trying to force everybody to get vaccinated. We're not forcing you. We're just saying you can't be in a position to infect us. And of course, their argument now is, well, vaccinated people are the ones that are spreading it. No. No. The most ginormous, hugely, how do I want to say this? Blubberous, ginormous. I'm talking about edges falling off, right? Empirical experiment that the nation has ever put on just went on in front of our eyes. We have a huge population, 100 and some million vaccinated. We have a smaller population of people who aren't vaccinated. Delta shows up, And what does it do? Attacked almost to the 90 percentile of the motherfuckers in the hospital were people who were unvaccinated. As people start to get vaccinated because they're scared shitless out of Delta, all of a sudden the deaths start dropping, as we're seeing. Hopefully, it'll hold. The point is, though, that the unvaccinated were a control group. We all know people who, I know a person who died because the vaccination didn't exist, right? So last year, we all laid low. Then when vaccinations came out, the top 90 percentile people to go to the hospital weren't vaccinated. They were unvaccinated. So now the people, the anti-vaxxers that are coming out and saying, well, you guys are spreading it, and the viral load, you can get it no matter whether you're vaccinated or not. That's true. That's true. You won't die, hopefully. Most of the time, you won't die. And what about these other people that die? That's, there are some outliers that will die. But here's the question I have for anti-vaxxers. What the fuck is your solution? Because last year, when motherfuckers was dying, we lost the bulk of what was going to probably be close to 1 million people by next year. We lost the bulk of them. And the reason why this shit has exploded like wildfire in this country, because they were unvaccinated, and there was because of a president, the wrong person who was at that, he was at the table, at that desk, did everything that you could do that is wrong. And anti-vaxxers had every opportunity to show up with whatever the fuck this is nothing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine, it's nothing. Motherfuckers are still dying. So why do you say they're dying? Well, this is what they say. Well, it's really the flu. Prove it. Drag one of them bodies out. Go talk to one of the people of the family. See if you can get the serum. See if you can get, if you can get the blood out of them, and you can prove it. There was plenty of bodies, plenty of motherfuckers hanging around, plenty of families that would have said, hell yeah. If I can find this out and then sue this hospital for lying, sure, hell yeah, let's find out. And no, you did not. Anti-vaxxers didn't fucking show up. They don't show up when people get sick, when they listen to them and get sick. They don't show up when those motherfuckers die. They don't show up to take care of their kids. They don't show up to take care of their husbands or wives, their widows or widowers. They don't show up to take care of the families left, the house that's left, the job that's left. They don't show. They don't have solutions. None. They're just in the fucking way. That is all they're there to do. Whether or not it's ideologically or whether or not they have some other agenda, which they may be in another country arguing with you just to, create some sort of confusion. That's it. That's it. You dig what I'm saying? That's all we're talking about. We ain't talking about nothing else here. It ain't that crazy. And so, of course, from the GOP side, we have Tejas, very own Tejas, Texas, talking about they're going to get rid of all vaccines. This is, like I said, this is from Kyle Griffin, so we watched him. I don't know if that's going to hold. I hope it doesn't. People need to get their kids to school. They need to get to work. They need to fly planes. I mean, you can't have a state as big as Texas with as much traffic going in and much food, oil, all kinds of, big sector things coming in and out of that state. And then what's going to happen is other states are going to say, we can't travel to Texas. They got a smallpox outbreak. The motherfuckers going to be walking around with hoof and mouth. Everybody in Texas is going to get hoof and mouth, okay? Because these motherfuckers, oh, man. Anyway, so let's get on what's happening to this. Let's dig this thing with the Raiders. So I'm going to begin with our very own Cousineau because she actually alluded to this. For those in the flotilla that came to the Zoom chat, for those that didn't, you were missed. But we poured one out for you while you weren't there. Had a great conversation. I'm going to try to bring him on Wednesday with Clyde about how his mother was like this node of like fashion in one of the hippest moments to be in fashion with black entertainment. Once again, it's getting back to entertainment. But I want to talk about this thing here that actually lets you know that you're in entertainment and not something else, not something that's ridiculously special. And I'm talking about Gruden being fired from the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. Let me bring up our Cousineau. Like I said, she brought this up. So Cassandra Cousineau, in regards to John Gruden's situation, says there are individuals seated in positions, okay, read this with me, of hiring power and authority who absolutely are unwilling to consider candidates of color, lower in economic status, or with ovaries. What Gruden's emails further underscore is these types of inner circles actually find oppression amusing. It's a big old punk ass inside game. And y'all know what? From time to time, fools like this get to hold an L. Still, folks want to sit here and cry that it's cancel culture. We're talking about accountability culture. These motherfuckers, because she says motherfuckers. She says MFers, but I'm adding a motherfucker. These motherfuckers aren't just racist and misogynist. They are threats to access to equitable wages, status, and safe working environments. People like this and their cronies need to get the fuck out of here immediately. And this is from Annan Schefter, who actually broke the story, I think, on Twitter. He says, Raiders owner Mark Davis arrived. Mark Davis is Al Davis's son. Said he arrived at the team's facility a couple of hours ago. I went to find John Gruden, per source. The two men met, and Gruden no longer will be the Raiders head coach. So what happened? Raiders head coach, this is from ESPN, John Gruden resigns as Las Vegas Raiders head coach after report of anti-gay misogynistic language used in emails. Now, people have been saying that these emails are 10 years old. They are not. They are 8 years worth of emails, okay? So let me just break it down for you right quick so we can roll it down. Las Vegas, John Gruden has resigned as head coach of Las Vegas Raiders following reports that emails he wrote over a 10-year period included racist, misogynistic, and anti-gay language. Over 10 years, excuse me. I love the Raiders and do not want to be a distraction, Gruden said in a statement Monday night. Thank you all you players, coaches, staff, and fans and Raider Nation. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone. Now, there's a connection here with what I was talking about with R. Kelly. Right away, there started to be the banners. There are people who are carrying the Gruden banners, saying that he was just using language that is used all the time, and it doesn't matter, that he said these things, that he said whatever. So I'm going to read to you some of them. It doesn't matter that he said some of these things, and the thing that we have to be careful about, people of color, and I'm pretty sure there's some brothers that are down on, just like there's some black people caping for R. Kelly. In this day and age right now, with all this fascism going around, with all this Trumpism going around and Trump fascism going on, and the idea that white folks have a right when they're angry to go off in any way, shape, or form, and including killing us, we have to be careful not to give an inch on our humanity. And I don't know if that matters between us, betwixt us, how we talk when start talking amongst ourselves. But I do believe in some states, in some areas, that we have to be very careful. You have to. Big black buck syndrome exists. We've seen cops over and over again. I'm not going to show it tonight, but just recently there was a black man who had been pulled over, who explained that he wasn't a quadriplegic. He was his legs didn't work, and so they dragged him out of the car. And he was trying to tell him, I can't, get out of the car. I can't. And I always think of Philando Castile, because Philando had a permit for his gun. He told the officer he had one, and he reached for I think it was his wallet, in the glove compartment where the gun was, and he was telling him. 7 shots into that car. Man didn't die right away, but there was his girlfriend and his girlfriend's daughter. After 7 gunshots into a car with kids. So you have situations like that. And if you begin to acquiesce and start talking this shit and be like, no, it's no big thing, it's no big deal, don't worry about it, blah, 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 that bleeds. It bleeds into the area that we are threats and we are less than. The moment that someone can think that you are less than, whatever it is, human, man, woman, employee, supervisor, worker, anybody that some says that they're less than, then you're in danger. Either your job, like Kuzno just said, your position, your money, the bag, or you. Shit. Or your family. Shit. I don't have to raise my voice to say that. But anyway. Right. Raiders owner Mark Davis released a short statement saying that he had accepted Gruden's resignation. Assistant coach Rich Bisaccia Bisaccia. Rich B. We'll serve him right here. We'll serve the interim head coach effectively immediately. The team announced he will meet with the media during availability on Wednesday. The resignation came shortly after the New York Times reported that Gruden used misogynistic and anti-gay language in numerous emails during a 7-year period. The report came days after 10-year-old emails from Gruden surfaced, which included a racist comment about an NFL player, executive director, DeMaurice, or I said DeMaurice or DeMaurice. I think it's DeMaurice Smith, as well as he's the Player Association executive director. As Regulus Volk, we're going to hear from him in a minute. Criticism of NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. According to the Times, Gruden sent emails to Bruce Allen, then the president of the Washington football team, and others during the 7-year period that ended in 2018. Gruden emailed Allen. See, I'm saying that what I said about 10 years, but it ended in 2018. So it wasn't 10 years ago. The shit ended just 3 years ago because we still in 2021. Gruden emailed Allen and Goodell should not have pressured then St. Louis Rams coach Jeff Fisher to draft queers, referring to, I mean, who the fuck uses the word queers? I mean, who does? Does anybody? Does anybody say, I mean, we have moved so far. You know, my grandfather, I used to tell this joke all the time. My grandfather, let me take you back to stark real. Now, this is stark real with language, right? Lexicon, actually. Back when brothers and sisters of all colors, people of color of all types, called each other box names, kid names, as adults. So, of course, they used the N-word to describe each other. My grandfather, there was the difference between N-word, who was a brother that you knew in some kind of way, you know, especially if he was personable, and spooks. He used to say spooks. Them spooks are hanging out. That's a different kind of brother. That's kind of shifty brother, spook, right? He never called Latinos beaners. I did hear him say wetback. And wetback was a term that was used to talk about a specific type of Latino, not a person who's been here for a while, but who literally works in the fields. Not saying it's a good name. I'm just saying back in the day. So they used to use this word. And the first time I heard my grandfather say it just struck me as a tribute name, sweet pickle. And a sweet pickle was a gay person, a gay dude who was effete, but wasn't all the way effete. You know, he was a little effete, but he was still the person that came over and, you know, played tonk and kicked it and whatever. All right? Now, that's their language. The motherfucker using queer, that's like, the fuck are you talking about? Queer? Who the fuck uses queer? It's just so crazy. Anyway, he says, drafted play in 2014, according to the Times. The Times also reported that Gruden used an anti-gay slur several instances while referring to Goodell and used offensive language to describe some other owners and coaches. Let me turn this correctly. That's right. And media members who cover the league. Gruden was employed by ESPN, right, as lead analyst for Monday Night Football at the time and sent emails that are now under review. The comments are clearly repugnant under any circumstances, ESPN said. In a statement, Gruden emails included harsh language for a handful of team owners involved in 2011 labor disagreement that led to the lockout in time. The Wall Street Journal reported Friday that Gruden, in an email to Allen, said Smith had lips the size of Michelin tires, with newspapers saying that it reviewed the email in question. Gruden told ESPN that he routinely used the term rubber lips to refer to a guy I catch as lying. He can't spit it out. Yeah, okay. That's what that was. I'm ashamed I insulted this Smith. I never had a racial thought when I used it. Okay, sure. I'm embarrassed for what yeah, okay. Gruden, 58, became the Raiders head coach in 2018, agreeing to a 10-year contract with a reported $100 million. Raiders off to a 3-2 start this year. Went 22-31 under Gruden his time. After he initially coached the Raiders from 1998 to 2001, He was traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and beat his former team in the Super Bowl 37, 2003. The Raiders have had one winning season and a playoff appearance since then in 2016. True says that's old-timey racist style. Yeah, man. What the fuck? I'll put this here so you guys can read it if you want to a little later on. Put there and bam, you can read that. Question is, why do they have a backlog of all these emails? Weren't these emails problematic back then? Yeah, they were going back and forth. Apparently, there was a court case that involved the other individual, Allen, and it was just a shit show, and they were just going back and forth. Now, here's what the brother says, DeMaurice Smith. Now, here's what he says. Let me bring this up before. He says, let me see if I can get this a little. There we go. The email from John Gruden and some of the reaction to it confirms that the fight against racism, racist tropes, and intolerance is not over. This is not about an email as much as it is about a pervasive belief by some that people who look like me can be treated as less. This is what I wrote. I wrote a post about this. You cannot give them an inch in dehumanization, especially right now. Let me see. Oh, yeah, Raven Choice says the dude hates everybody. Right. That's real shit. That's absolutely real. He says the email also revealed why the comments by some with powerful platforms to explain this away are insidious and hypocritical. It is as if there is a need to project football above the values of equality, inclusion, and respect. The powerful in our business have to embrace that football itself has to be better, as opposed to making excuses to maintain the status quo. And he says, I appreciate that he reached out to me and told me, and I told him that we will connect soon. But make no mistake, the news is not about what is said in our private conversation, but what else is said by people who never thought they would be exposed and how they are going to be held to account. Okay, so this is where it gets tricky for me, because the reason why Gruden was released is because it got out. And it's going to affect the bottom line to what is entertainment. Remember I said that. That's why it's very important. Sports is entertainment. It is not necessary to our daily lives. It is necessary for people who work in those particular worlds. How come I'm going to call them whole worlds? Because we're talking about stadiums and the teams. You got cheerleaders. You got towel people, or equipment managers. Excuse me, I say towel people, but equipment managers. You got people. You got press office. You got marketing people all throughout. Then you got you got the owners and their staffs, and so administrative staff to administrate stuff. Then you have the coaching his staff. For instance, Gruden's younger brother is the strength coach. And somebody said, well, what about him? And that's the strength coach. All that whole staff is going to change usually when there's another regime. It's probably not going to change right now because they got somebody from in-house. They got an in-house coach. So the thing is this is about money. This is about entertainment. It's not about what a lot of people are trying to say, okay, well, this isn't about free speech. Free speech means that Gruden doesn't go to jail for saying this shit. Okay? It means that he's not going to get it. And so a lot of the Trumpists, this is what I was saying before and why it all ties together, a lot of the Trump fascists and all these people are jumping and they're carrying the banner of Gruden. Is like, what the fuck is the problem? We all say this kind of shit, blah, 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 blah. But you see, Gruden was in a position of hiring and firing and administering to and managing of people of color. You cannot be, and lesbian and gay, gay people as well if he hired one. You can't be in that kind of position and have these kind of conversations. Now, a lot of people are saying that he had them in person and it didn't matter. It matters now when it gets out. It matters because you're a hirer. It wouldn't matter so much if all you were was the number one fan, because all they can do, they'll take your tickets. But this is the guy who makes the choice. Who gets on the field, who gets love. You know, he made, you know, make the choice of who gets the marketing, who gets look at. You know, when you play college football, the coach actually controls the contract for whatever equipment you're going to wear. What type, the setup, all that shit. So the head coach. So in this particular situation, you know, and this is in it. Listen, we cannot forget that sports is entertainment. It is a business based on entertainment. Okay? And that's what we have to understand in this particular situation. Nobody's being noble here. All right? I don't know what, you know, what's the name Davis said to Gruden. I don't know what went down. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to write a book about it. All we know is what happened and what happened to lead up to this. So Raven Troy says, I tell you, 2 words I'm tired of hearing are inclusive and BIPOC. Yes. It's like everyone learned a new word. And True says, the post below the one is the reason why this guy will get swept under the rug. Hypocritical, yet you held to an email for 10 years and were never mad enough about it until now. It says makes total sense. First off, the investigators are investigating it for a while and are looking at 650,000 emails. Yes. And it wasn't to DeMaurice. It wasn't to him. But anyway, dig that. And we'll move on. Like I said, this is about entertainment. And yes, this is turns a lot of people off. I'm not going to say it didn't matter. It matters. It does matter for the reason. That's why I read Cousineau's point, because he's in a position of hiring a lot of people who agree with them. You know, there's a term called incel, which is really, you know, like these punk asses who are involuntarily celibate. That's where it started. But where it ends up now is a certain type of white individual, white male, who is entitled and angry and says all kinds of stupid shit and believes that they're in the right. And they're the ones that hide behind like some of the internet mobbing and the bot trolling and all this shit. They're the ones that do that kind of shit. Well, they're seeing their voices in this. You just read find any topic on it, and somebody's posted that, you know, get a lot of traffic, and they'll pop up. You'll see all kinds of shit. Oh, he didn't say nothing wrong. Blah 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 blah. So, and that's also going around, swirling around Dave Chappelle right now because of what he said. But like I said, you know, I personally believe that we're in a time where you really can't give an inch though to your humanity. Not right now. You know, I think we should add a new word to our vocabulary. Stop being racist. That's the stop being racist word. Yeah. I can dig that. Let me move on here. Yeah, I'll get rid of these right here. Man. So DeSantis makes a proclamation. I'm not going to read the whole thing. DeSantis of Florida makes a proclamation on, I was planning to show you this, this back and forth I had with this person who finally blocked me. I don't know if they blocked me or, yeah, I think they blocked me because I whooped their ass in discussing this particular bullshit, and I brought it all full circle to the fascism we're facing today. But anyway, he dropped a proclamation. This is by Ron Filipkowski. Filipkowski is his name, and I use him several times. He's an attorney, and you know, but he actually posts some decent stuff. This is the actual Columbus Day thing by DeSantis of Florida. And he says the proclamation by DeSantis praising Columbus, not saying a single negative thing about him, is exactly about Columbus. Is exactly the problem with the patriotic education he forces on Florida kids. As the former Florida history teacher, I will give some facts about Columbus that come from his own diary. So here's what he writes. He says, or are not in dispute. When he first landed, his diary entry, these people are very simple in warlike matters. I could conquer the whole of them with 50 men and govern them as I please. He enslaved 1,000. He sent 500 enslaved Arawaks to Spain. Nearly, that's the indigenous people that were on Hispaniola, because he never made it to America. Although The Vikings did. We talked about that. They made it to Canada. The Vikings did. Yes, they gave it to the Vikings. They made it, And I believe, there's still something to be said about black folks making it to Central America, what's now Central America. From Africa, it's talked about. I don't know if there's any hard evidence yet. I think they're going to find something. I really do. The nose, look, all through Polynesia, the noses look too much like, you know what I'm saying? Cousin Rigby. It's too big. That's what the Jacksons are. The Jacksons are from Polynesia. They got the Polynesian noses, that's what they are. Anyway, he says they sent thousands of slaves, 500 were enslaved to Iraq to Spain. Half died on the way. He instituted encomienda. Encomienda. Thank you very much. That's where I got it. I finally got it. Encomienda as governor general. Natives must convert to Christianity or be enslaved. Leaders who refused were tortured and executed in front of him. He was universally despised by his own men. He often executed and dismembered them for minor offenses. He cut off the nose and ears of a Spaniard who stole corn, then enslaved him. When Spanish settlers said that they were of low birth, he had their tongue, said he was of low birth, He had their tongue cut out and paraded naked through the streets. Thousands of natives committed suicide to avoid this enslavement of him. He was replaced by Ferdinand and Isabella as governor general due to, quote unquote, incompetence, tyranny, and brutality. DeSantis won't allow any of this taught, though, because Columbus is such a hero to America. The interesting thing is we were brought up with the same goddamn story. And there was a picture I wanted to show you guys. I can't find it right now, of one of the great immigrant ships that had come from Europe. Give us your tire, your port, around the turn of the century. And it's filled with thousands upon thousands of Italians. You could see this. If you could see this, and then all you have to do is contrast that with what happened with Haitians at the border. And then you'll see why there's so much controversy over Columbus. Dig that. And so this happened in 1973, if we're talking about indigenous affairs, indigenous days, indigenous people. This is remarkable. This was for, I believe, Marlon Brando had sent someone to accept his award, his Oscar, in his stead. And watch this. This actually happened in 1973. Dig it.
Accepting the award for Marlon Brando and The Godfather, Miss Shasheen Littlefeather.
That he very regretfully cannot accept this very generous award. And the reasons for this being are the treatment of American Indians today by the film industry, and on television in movie reruns, and also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee. I beg at this time that I have not intruded upon this evening, and that we will, in the future, our hearts and our understandings will meet with love and generosity. Thank you on behalf of Marlon Brando.
I don't know if I should present this award on behalf of all the cowboys shot in all the John Ford westerns over the years.
Now, let me tell you why that was so shitty of Clint Eastwood to say that. Wounded Knee, I need to make sure I have this right, because I know it, but I don't want to sit here and say this bullshit. I don't want to say it as bullshit, because I don't want that to. So you have to know who the Lakota are. The Lakota is possibly, I'm going to say the largest, one of the largest nations of many different tribes that has ever existed in North America. And they're the ones that gathered together to take out Custer. Now, how they pulled it off was Custer was a bloodthirsty person, and so at that time he had fought in the Civil War, and now they were doing the Indian War, and brothers were in that. They're scouts and whatnot, so there were black folks that were engaged in that. So what he did was he ran down the bulk of the Native army had gone into what's the name, and Little Bighorn. And Custer in the morning began attacking some of the settlements, but the settlements didn't have a bunch of warriors. They had a few of them, but it was mostly women and children, and they were killing them and running them down. All right, I don't know all the details. It's just what matters, you know. And so Wounded Knee happened in 1890. I was talking about the Battle of Little Bighorn there, but I mean, I'm just saying that once he finally found the people, the warriors he was looking for, he actually ended up pulling a maneuver where they drew him in and then surrounded him and killed him, and that's the whole thing. Remember Custer. But in 1890, there was called the Battle of Wounded Knee, and why it's important. They had another battle at Wounded Knee around that time. I can't remember. I don't remember the date. You guys can probably look it up for me. Where some Native Americans, some indigenous people, held up in a house on the property, and they had a shootout. They had a confrontation with the feds. I can't remember how many died, who actually was shot or what went down, but it was fucked up, okay? And remember I said that, you know, the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement, which this was a part of, was all about a youth movement. It was all about a movement of people who were young enough to see. They were still young enough and bright enough and strong enough, but now they had they had enough knowledge behind them to see where the world was coming, where it was going. You know what I'm saying? And this was all over the world. This is why Vietnam actually blew up. It was the youth movement in Vietnam that fought. Ho Chi Minh he led it for a while, but it was the youthful people who fought it. The same thing that happened in Cuba, the same thing that happened in Nigeria, Kenya, all these different places were breaking because there were young people and young governments, and that's what's happening in the United States. And so it was fucked up. Right. And it got for Clint Eastwood to say that shit, because she's really talking off the heels of that. That's why it's important in history. Whenever they play this, and they played it, you know, they always play it because it's a clip of it. They always play it. They play it without the context of the historical timeline in which she's talking. Some shit went down, and it had been going down for quite some time. That wasn't the only time. So there was a tragedy. And Marlon Brando sends her. Okay, most people would say that was kind of, rude or weird or whatever the hell, but she's there. And she gets up and she speaks. It's an eloquent speech. It's not no shit. She's like, fight the power, blah, blah, blah. She's like, hopefully one day we'll have in peace. And this shit comes out smirkingly talking about, I don't know if I want to give this for all the cowboys that have been killed. Motherfucker, you talking about actors on films. She's talking about some real shit that went down. And this is what I was saying. This is why I said this whole thing tonight about dehumanization. If you give an inch, it becomes easy for other powers to unman you or unhuman you, to then kill you. It becomes easy. If you let them dehumanize you, it becomes easy for you to be a Tamir Rice or an Eric Garner or a Philando Castile, or on and on and on and on and on. You dig what I'm saying? So that's why I find it, I found this clip just so amazing because Clint Eastwood comes out and he's smirking. He doesn't get it. And all of history should see this shit. This should run this shit because, and do it in context, though. Show why she's talking about what she's talking about. Show the people that died, showed what happened, show the breakdown, show the shit, on both sides. It got crazy. Show the shit, and then show her speech, and then show him coming out smirking. Show that shit. Anyway, that's what I thought about it. I thought when I brought that up, and for reals, where I'm at. Okay. So I'm 16 minutes into an hour after the show. So I'm trying to whittle this thing down. I want to show you this last thing. I think it was so dope. So here's a cat, and their owner is just dope. I don't know. Sometimes you just got to be ready. This is the funniest shit on the planet, though. I just thought this was just so. Okay, let me see if I can get it. I don't think I can get a. Let me see if I can get a. Oh, there we go. All right, that's good. Turn it to 150, so you guys can see it. I'm gonna redo it. You got to watch it from the gate. Here we go. Boom, and you got to watch right here. So I'm gonna redo it when it comes back up. Watch this. This is the funniest shit. Hold on here. There we go. Yeah, I'll turn that up a little bit. There we go. Watch this. This is hilarious. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. I didn't do it. There we go. All right, now watch the cat come flying out of there. So he sits there and he waits. Look. What the hell? What's he waiting on? And, whoa! And then takes off. And he comes back and he's waiting. Look. He runs past the shit. That shit is so funny. That shit is so funny. The motherfucker. And he sits and he waits on her. Like, yeah, here she go. There she go. I'm gonna wait right here. I'm gonna wait there. She. One more. Yeah. Oh, fuck. That's funny as hell. The fact that he's sitting there peeking, waiting on her. He's peeking. And oh, shit. All right, man. Dig it. It's been Brandon Bowlin for the Undertaker Keep Body Alive and Well on a Monday. We made it, everybody. I know. I'm going to try to get this chat thing together so the responses can be a little bit tighter and you guys can exchange a little bit more. It may be this. It may be us in love like this, exchanging in love and back and forth and never, how we got to do it. But I'm going to do it in a way possibly so you can see what you're doing. Everybody can see what the get down is and we can move this thing along. You know what I'm saying? 119. So I dropped 10 minutes off of it. I'm trying to get this thing down to 1 hour. So hopefully I'll just shut my ass up, not drink any coffee during the day. I want to thank everybody for coming through. We saw Clyde come through and True come through and Raven. There's a whole bunch of other people that were here that were watching. I don't know where the hell they are. They don't show up. The names don't come in right away just because you came in. So that's okay. Please click like and please subscribe because that way you can be notified about what's going on, what the big ding is happening if you press the little, bell button and other things that's happening. Hope everybody has a good week. We made it. Keep your head up. Otherwise, you're going to run into shit. Strength be to your mind and peace be unto your body. Good nightus. Bye-bye now.